welcome back to my channel Code with Hafiz. My name is Hafizullah Masoudi, and in this video I'm going to show you how you can do edit functionality using Vue.js and Vuex. If you guys remember, in our previous video we finished the create functionality and the store functionality for the users table. So in this video we will work on the edit. So first of all, let's log into the system. Let's log in as hafiz@app.com and password is password. Well, for now we have hard-coded or just declared the edit and delete as a text, but let's make it as a button. So let's open our project in the text editor, and in here what we will do is go to resources, views and home plate. Let me first close the sidebar, and in here if we scroll down, this is where we are fetching the data. So in here, as you can see, it is only edit and delete. So let's remove it and create a button. Let's give this button a class of btn-success and btn-sm for small. And for the text, let's say edit. Let's also attach an event, an add click event to this button. So add click should equal to, let's say, edit user. Now let's create this edit user method in app.js. So let's go to the sidebar and js folder app.js. In here, if we scroll down, for now we have only this store user. So let's put a comma here and let's say edit user. And inside here what we will do is use the same model. So let's copy these two lines of code and paste it here. Well, we will dispatch an action also for the edit user because we want the user data. So let's say edit user, and don't forget to pass your user data to this edit user method. So what we can do is in the blade we can say edit user parenthesis, and then we can send this user object. So in here let's say user. Now we have access to this user in the app.js edit user method. So in here we have to get the user, and now we can pass it to the dispatch action. So comma, then object, let's name it user, colon, then user. And instead of hiding the model, let's say show. Now what we will do is create this edit user dispatch action in the store.js. So let's go to store folder, store.js, and in here if I scroll down, let's create it after the store user. So let's say comma, edit user, colon, then parenthesis, and let's name it context, then comma data, which should equal to an object. Well, instead of writing dispatch commit and state like this, we can just pass here context. Then we can get context.dispatch or context.commit, or if you want the state, we can get that also. So in here what we will do, we want to do a couple of things. Well, first of all, let's create edit mode Boolean. So at the top in the states, what I will do is create an object by the name of edit mode, and let's make it false for now. And in the edit user action, what I will do is first let's say context dot state and dot edit mode should equal to true, and then let's duplicate this one 3 times, and this time let's say user data should equal to data.user dot let's say name, and after this user data let's say dot name. Well, we want the ID also, so at the top what we can do is in the user data create another object at the top, and let's say ID should equal to empty string. Now in here let's also assign the ID. So user data dot ID should equal to data user ID, and this one is for let's say dot email, and let's say data.user.email, and this one is for the password. We will make the password empty. So user mode or not user mode, guys, this should be also user data. So let's copy this, and user data dot password should equal to empty string. So guys, we have worked on how to edit the user data with the same model, but let's also make the create functionality and opening the model as an @click event. And let's go to home blade, and what I mean is, if I scroll to the top where our create button is, yeah, this one is. So what I will do is remove all this bootstrap classes, and let's also remove the type, but instead we will say @click should equal to, let's say, create user, and let's make this function in the app.js. So let's go to app.js and let's create it at the top. Now inside here, let's copy this 2 lines of code, because this is the same what we will do, and paste it here. Because for the create user, we want the model to be empty, and also we want the edit mode to be false. So let's also in here say create user, and for the model let's say show. So now let's create this create user dispatch action in the store.js. So let's go to store.js and let's create it after this get users. So create user colon, let's say context, and it should equal to curly braces, and inside here what I will do is copy all the code from the edit user, but we will make some changes to this code. Well, the first change is to make the edit mode false, and then let's make everything to empty strings, and that's all for the create user. Now let's get back to the home blade and work with the interface for the edit functionality. So let's go to home blade, and if I scroll down, well, first of all we have to change, let me close the sidebar, this create new user according to a statement or if statement. So what I mean is, let's remove this and let's say at double curly braces, and in here let's say edit mode. If edit mode is equal to true, then we want to show a string, and if it's not, we still want to show a string. If the edit mode is true, we want to say edit user data, and if it is not true, then we want to say create new user. Let's also do this for the buttons. So for the store button, what we can do is say v-if equals edit mode. If it is false, then we want to show the store button, and if it is true, then we want to show the update button. Let's also make changes for the method. So let's say update user. Now the next part is, guys, to get this edit mode as a computed property in our home blade, because for now we don't have access to this edit mode. If we go to app.js, we have only this users and user data as computed property. So in here let's put a comma and let's say edit mode and parenthesis curly braces, then return this dot $store dot state dot edit mode. And now let's also create the update user functionality. So in here let's put a comma and let's say update user, and let's put our parenthesis. Well, for now let's leave it empty and open the terminal and run yarn run watch to compile all the changes. So let's say yarn run watch, press enter. So guys, our code has been compiled successfully without any errors. And now if we get back to the browser and let's hard reload, well, I think we don't have any errors. And if we click on create user, you can see we have this create new user with the store button. And if we click on this edit, we have this edit user data and with all the user data, and the button has also changed to update. For now it won't work because the update method is empty. So let's work on this update user. Let's get back to the text editor, And in here what I will do is, let's copy these 2 lines of code and paste it here. Well, we don't want to send the data in here, we will get it from the store. But instead of edit user, what we will say is update user. And we want to hide the model after we update the user. Now let's create this update user action in the store.js. So let's go to store.js, and at the bottom let's put a comma, and let's say update user colon parenthesis context comma data. Well, we don't have the data, so let's make this equal to a function, and in here let's say axios.post and then API slash update user slash, we want to pass the ID, so plus context dot state dot user data dot ID, and this is the ID that we have created earlier. So let's put our comma and send the request or form data. So context dot state dot user data. Then let's say dot then, and response should equal to curly braces, and in here let's say console dot log response dot data, and we want to say context dot dispatch, and let's say we want to get the users to update the table, and let's also put the catch for any errors, which should equal to curly braces and console dot log errors. Now what we will do is create this update user API. So let's go to the sidebar and scroll down, go to routes folder api.php, and in here let's duplicate this store user. So let's say update user, and let's say update user slash ID inside the curly braces. So now let's create this update user function in user controller. So let's go to the top app folder http controllers API user controller, and if we scroll down, we already have this store user. We can copy this method, so let's duplicate it, and instead of store user let's say update user, and we have also ID coming in the URL. Well, first of all let's get the user data from the database. So we want to store it in a variable called user, which should equal to user model colon colon find or fail ID. Then let's work on this user create. Well, we don't want to create, we want to update, but before that let's declare the where statement arrow. So where ID equals to $ID, then we want to update the user data. Well, everything looks good here except for the password. Well, for the password what we will do is let's remove all the hash code and make it $password, and at the top of user update what we will do is declare an if else statement. So let's declare it, and for the if we want to say if the request has password, then we want to say password variable should equal to hash colon colon make $request arrow password, and if we don't have new password then we want to send the old password. So password should equal to $user arrow password, and I think that's good for now. And this is all the code that we need for the user update. So let's go back to the browser and check our code if it works. So let's get back to the browser, hard reload, and now let's try to update this Ahmad account or user. So let's click on it, let's say update it, and update. As you guys can see, Ahmad has been updated. So let's update it back to Ahmad and update, and yeah, it works just fine. So guys, this was how to do the update functionality using Vue.js and Vuex. I hope you enjoyed watching the video, and if you enjoyed watching the video, don't forget to give the thumbs up and also share it with your friends. And if you didn't have subscribed to my channel, please subscribe to my channel for support. And thanks for watching. See you guys in the next video.